my bike yesterday, and I got it for the price that I wanted, so I was super happy about that. I actually took it out last night after I bought it, and I rode it a little bit at a park with some friends, and I busted my rear tube. That's okay. It had some things wrong with it, some things I had to fix before I could even ride it. So it needs wheel bearings, it needs just a couple of other minor things, but most of all it just needs a little tune-up. So we're gonna get this bike torn apart. I'm gonna get all the bad parts off of it. We're just gonna strip it down pretty much to clean it all up good. We're just going to check all those spots, make sure everything's got what it needs, and make sure that it's running good. Now, when you have parts like this is the headset assembly with the top piece of the gyro or the detangler, cable detangler. It's very important how all this goes together. You see there's several pieces in here. I have spacers, I have this plate for the gyro, I have another spacer, I have this headset spacer, I have all kinds of stuff. I don't know what other parts are. This is a bearing. That's your bearing for your fork. All this is very important how it goes together. So you want to make sure you keep it in that exact same orientation when you're taking it apart. And so if you keep it together like this, okay, here's a great thing to do. Keep it together like as you're taking it apart, put it on a finger, then just take a zip tie, piece of wire, whatever. You're just gonna run it through all those parts, okay, just like that. Zip tie it up. Now everything's together, the exact same orientation as you took it apart. No mess ups. So what we're doing now is we got all the parts disassembled from the bike. So anyways, we're gonna scrub those up pretty good. A tub like this works great. And then, you know, get some dish soap in there. Use a toilet bowl brush. This is compliments of Seth's Bike Hacks. You know, I follow him, and you know, he's got some great ideas. We're gonna get these things scrubbed up and get all the oil and grease and junk off of them from the bike sitting up, and dry it out, and then we're gonna go get our new parts to put on it, get this thing running good. Okay, so I got everything cleaned up. Everything's completely, well, obviously I stripped it completely down, and then I cleaned it all up. It's super hot, it's super humid outside, because we've been having a lot of rainy weather, so I had to change my shirt, change my hat, but cleaned up now. The bike's cleaned up. We're getting ready to load it up, take the parts to the bike shop. Maverick's ready to go. You ready to go bye-bye? You ready to go bye-bye? Yeah. I got everything stripped down. There's the forks, my crank assembly. That's my front axle right there. Frame, I got the inside, the crank housing all cleaned up. I'm just kind of letting everything dry. I need to turn this sideways actually so it can all drain out. I'm gonna have to take this wheel to the bike shop because I've got to get these bearings. I want to change those out, but I cannot break the axle nuts loose. I got the front axle taken out, but these were seasoned and pretty good. But like I said, this bike didn't seem to be taken care of very well, so I have no doubts that, you know, things are rusted up and seized up, and that's okay, because that's nothing that a little bit of time can't fix and make better. But I'm happy with how everything turned out. So let's go get some parts, get this thing put together. So I just got back from the bike shop. I got some parts that I needed for the bike. I did end up replacing my old crank bearings. I got some front wheel bearings. So this is what the front wheel bearings look like. They're just these open ball bearings in a casing. You got to grease them up and get them you got to get them set in place. The crank bearings, they're sealed bearings, so it means you got this cover around it, and so every bit of grease that's in there, it is trapped. It's not going to come out. You're not going to put more in there, and these are a little bit better bearings in stock, and so hopefully that's going to work out really nice. And I got me some new brake pads. These are Ghost pads by Odyssey. The shop owner told me they were really good, and I said, why not? I'll try them out. And they were $10.99 for the set. Everything I got was, I think, $35 roughly, and that's going to get me going good. So I spent $190 on the bike. I spent $35 on some upgrades just to make the bike run better and to fix a couple of things. And so, you know, I think that's pretty good. I ended up selling my deer stand for $25. I got $75 out of the Xbox, and I had my hoverboard that I sold, and I sold it for $140. And so I did good. Those are things that I weren't using, and so I didn't have to come out of any money, any extra cash out of pocket to get my first BMX bike, and that's exactly what my goal was. So anyways, I've got the bike laying here. We're gonna get our new bearings put in here, our new parts, and we're gonna get this bike put together, and hopefully we can ride it this evening. Guys, it is 2 o'clock in the morning, and I am cleaning bearings, each bearing for my wheels. This bike build is taking extremely much longer than I thought it would, because building a bike is definitely no amateur task. I was really hoping to get it all done in one evening, but you know, I didn't have time before having to go to work, and then also like getting into it, I really wanted to take my time with certain things. Speaking of which, I'm cleaning ball bearings. I'm cleaning old grease off of them, because the rear wheel, when you open it up, there's this race in here your ball bearings sit in. It's basically like a bearing that is just exposed. It's open, fully serviceable, I guess. So there's a race that your bearings sit in, and then there's a rubber retainer that sits over them, and then there's I guess a keeper that screws down on top of them, keeping them in place. So I've opened this up, I've cleaned all this out, I'm cleaning the bearings off, getting all the old, there's like rusty grease in there. It's bad. So I'm taking my time to do everything right. This rear cassette, I'm probably not gonna mess with that, honestly. I actually took it up to a bike shop, and the owner of the bike shop said everything felt good in it, to not worry about it. It wasn't a big deal, so I'm probably gonna leave that be. It's it's a little bit more in depth to take this cassette out, to remove the springs, clean everything, put it all back together. And then also, I don't have a proper cone wrench to get inside of here. There's a wrench called a cone wrench that you need, that is thin enough to get inside of there. I got this. I bought a set of wrenches, and I took this one and sanded it down, and I got it thin enough to get on this one side, but it's not thin enough to get right here. So you can do this. I've just got to grind it down some more to make it thin enough, and it'll be okay. But yeah, with the combination of finding more and more things that I really want to take my time on to get this bike right, and just stuff coming up. I mean, I have to go to work in the evenings. my wife wanting me to come inside and spend time with the family. It happens. But, you know, when you're doing projects, the biggest thing you gotta remember is don't get in a hurry. Don't rush yourself. Do it right the first time. Make sure that you are getting everything right. And if you have family, you've got to make sure that you take time with your family. No project's more important than them. You know, you've got to just take your time with stuff and be patient. This right now is literally 2 days after I started this. And like I said, it's 2 in the morning. But I work second shift, so I just got home. So I'm not like exhausted or anything. Yeah, I'm excited to get this thing together. I just want to get it done right. Alright guys, I got the bike all put together and it's running great. It feels awesome. Everything feels like it's running smooth, like it should. All of the bearings that I put in there, they feel like they really did the trick. It seems like that's really what it was needing. I was having some problems with the front wheel. It wasn't sitting right in the forks. I don't really know why. It just seems like the hub is too wide for the forks. Forks could be slightly bent, I don't know. But I was able to get them seated in there straight, get everything tightened down. The rear wheel, I got it set good. That cassette that I tried last night, I got it all put together and then it went together great. I got it greased up really good in there. I got everything cleaned, running great. And so here is my cheap BMX bike. It is a Haro 300.2. I believe this bike was purchased in 2013, so it's certainly older. It doesn't necessarily meet up to the standards of today's BMX bikes, but for the most part, you know, it's a great bike, and it's definitely a great beginner bike for myself. So certainly nothing wrong with that. I got my helmet on that I just bought. I'm wearing it to try to break it in and see if there's anything I need to adjust in the helmet. You know, the pads are a little tight, but I like it that way. It's nice and snug. The only other thing on the bike that I have not done is the brakes. I just cannot get the brakes set properly. I don't know the problem with them. I think the return spring on this brake is either weak or something's not set right. I am not sure. And so this is it. This is my BMX bike. I'm going to be doing some more work on it. Like I said, I got to work on the brakes still, but for now I don't have to have brakes. For now we're good. So hey, if you want a bike, whatever it is that you're wanting, that you're needing, that you like to get into, sell some things and see what you can get your hands on. So you never know. But I'm extremely happy with it, and here in the next couple of videos, maybe I'll get some shots taking it out to the park, and let's see what it can do. But for now, thanks for joining me at Shade Tree Mechanic. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, or if you know somebody that wants to watch it, or you know somebody that would like it, please share it with them. But for now, I'll see you guys next time. Have a blessed day. Take care.